you're watching this right now, you've finally reached that awakening point where your consciousness is ready to understand something that will completely revolutionize how you experience reality. This video didn't show up in your feed by accident. Your subconscious mind pulled this information toward you because you've hit exactly the right frequency to understand the most powerful secret about how our consciousness shapes our life experience. What you're about to discover is the Quantum Selection Protocol, a specific 5-step technique that lets you consciously direct your observation to collapse the possibilities you actually want to experience. I'm going to show you exactly how to identify which quantum reality to tune into, how to enter the observational coherent state that supercharges your manifestation ability, and how to use quantum anchoring to keep that frequency active all day long. Right now, as these words hit your consciousness, your brain is firing in neural patterns that connect you directly to what quantum scientists call the field of infinite possibilities. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That growing sense that reality isn't as solid as most people think. That weird recognition that somehow your attention affects what happens around you in ways that don't make logical sense. This gut feeling you have isn't paranoia or wishful thinking. It's your consciousness starting to recognize its true creative power. What you're about to discover goes way beyond any manifestation technique you've learned, because this isn't just about positive thinking or visualization. This is about understanding how the basic mechanics of reality creation work through what we call the quantum observer effect. The key to getting this isn't found in textbooks or fancy labs. It's in the direct experience you've been living without realizing what was really going on. Every time you thought of someone and they called you minutes later, every time you worried intensely about a problem and it seemed to get worse, every time you focused on a possibility and it started showing up in your life like magic, you're not just passively watching reality unfold, you're creating reality through the act of observing. The quantum observer effect is the fundamental mechanism by which consciousness shapes every single moment of your experienced reality. The reason you feel different from most people around you is because most are unconscious observers. They watch reality without realizing they're collapsing infinite possibilities into specific experiences through the quality of their attention. You've been developing conscious observation. You're starting to get that what you observe literally determines what you experience. Your observation power has been getting stronger without you fully realizing it. When you really focus on something now, it's like your attention has actual weight that can influence how likely things are to happen. You can feel the difference between casual thinking and the kind of laser-focused observation that seems to bend reality around your focus. Sometimes when you're in deep states of attention, time acts weird. Minutes stretch into what feels like hours of detailed observation, or hours collapse into moments of intense focus. You've noticed that your emotional state while observing something dramatically affects what shows up, right? When you observe with fear, scary possibilities increase. When you observe with excitement, exciting possibilities multiply. When you observe with love, loving experiences come your way. Your emotional frequency determines which quantum possibilities your observation collapses into experience. Those dreams where you're watching events unfold and then similar stuff happens in real life, those aren't psychic dreams. They're practice sessions for the observer effect. In your dream state, you're learning to navigate quantum possibility fields through pure observation. Sometimes you catch yourself staring at situations with an intensity that feels almost supernatural. People might ask what you're looking at, but you can't explain that you're not just looking. You're observing in a way that influences what you're seeing. You're developing quantum observation abilities that most humans don't even know exist. Your intuition has become quantum sensitivity. You don't just know things before they happen. You observe them in possibility space before they collapse into 3D experience. That feeling that reality becomes more fluid when you pay attention to it, that sense that your focus has real power to influence circumstances, this isn't your imagination. This is your consciousness discovering its fundamental role in reality creation through the quantum observer effect. But there's something crucial you need to understand about timing. We're in a cosmic amplification window right now. There are electromagnetic alignments, consciousness evolution phases, and collective awakening cycles that amplify individual observer effect capabilities. And these windows don't stay open forever. The universe isn't just showing you that you can use the observer effect consciously. It's telling you that you must use the observer effect consciously. The old reality structures based on struggle and force are becoming obsolete. Let me share something personal that completely changed my understanding. During a critical phase of my journey, I was going through multiple collapses at once. My business had failed, my long-term relationship had ended badly, and I'd lost my home. Everything was falling apart simultaneously. I spent hours each day obsessively analyzing what was wrong, replaying every decision that led me there, imagining how things could get even worse. But here's something you need to understand about unconscious observation patterns, and this will connect to experiences you've had too. I thought I was trying to solve problems through mental analysis. What I didn't realize was that my intense observation of problems was actually the observer effect creating more problems. Every time I focused on what wasn't working with emotional intensity, I was collapsing quantum possibilities for more of what wasn't working. I was literally observing my difficulties into amplified existence. But wait, because what happened next will show you exactly how your own observation has been operating without you fully realizing it. The shift happened during a moment of complete burnout. I was sitting on a friend's couch, the only place I had to stay, when I simply couldn't think anymore. My mind was so exhausted from problem-focused observation that it just shut down. I sat in silence, not thinking, not analyzing, not trying to fix anything, just observing the present moment without any agenda. That's when I felt it for the first time. Reality becoming more fluid around my attention. It was like the air around me had become thicker, more responsive. And here's where everything changed in a way that will make you completely rethink what you thought you knew about manifestation. I started experimenting with intentional observation. Instead of focusing on problems, I began observing solutions. Instead of replaying failures, I started paying attention to possibilities. Instead of imagining worst-case scenarios, I began observing best-case potentials. Within a short time, my external reality began reorganizing to match my new observation patterns. A job opportunity appeared through a contact I hadn't talked to in ages. A perfect apartment became available exactly within my budget. A person who would become a deep relationship entered my life through a coincidence that seemed impossible. But the deepest discovery wasn't that positive observation creates positive experiences. It was that observation itself is the fundamental creative force. I realized I had been unconsciously using the observer effect my entire life. Every time I focused intensely on something I didn't want, more of that appeared. Every time I observed something with genuine appreciation, more experiences worth appreciating manifested. The universe wasn't sending me random experiences. I was actively creating experiences through unconscious observation patterns. The moment everything clicked was when I understood that reality isn't something that happens to me. Reality is something that happens through me. My consciousness isn't observing an independent, external world. My consciousness is collapsing infinite quantum possibility into the specific world I experience through the quality of my observation. Now, what quantum physicists won't publicly admit is that the observer effect isn't limited to lab experiments with tiny particles. The quantum observer effect is the fundamental mechanism by which consciousness creates all experienced reality. Every moment of your life is the result of quantum possibility collapse through your observation. The difference between someone who gets the observer effect and someone who's stuck in circumstances isn't intelligence or education. It's recognizing that consciousness doesn't observe reality. Consciousness creates reality through observation. Your brain doesn't produce consciousness. Your brain focuses consciousness. Your neural networks are quantum focusing devices that concentrate infinite consciousness into specific observational patterns. When you change what you observe and how you observe it, you literally change which quantum possibilities collapse into your experienced reality. This is why positive thinking often fails. Positive thinking tries to change thoughts while still observing from the same limited identity. But the observer effect operates from consciousness, not from thoughts. When your entire being observes from expansion, instead of limitation, from possibility instead of problems, from love instead of fear, reality has no choice but to reflect that observational frequency. But here's what they really don't want you to understand. You don't need special training or years of practice to use the observer effect consciously. You're already using it every moment. The only difference between unconscious and conscious observer effect is recognizing what you're already doing and learning to direct it on purpose. Most people observe their current reality with such focused attention that they keep collapsing the same quantum possibilities over and over. They observe their problems so intensely that problems multiply. They observe their limitations with such focus that limitations expand. But the moment you recognize that observation is creation, everything changes. Instead of observing what you don't want, you can observe what you do want. Instead of focusing on current limitations, you can focus on desired possibilities. Instead of collapsing problems through problem-focused observation, you can collapse solutions through solution-focused observation. Here's the specific technique I use to consciously activate the observer effect. I call it the Quantum Selection Protocol. First, you identify which quantum possibility you want to collapse into your experience. It could be financial abundance, a loving relationship, vibrant health, creative success, anything that exists as potential in the possibility field. But before I continue, have you noticed how certain possibilities seem to have more pull than others? How some ideas about your future make you feel different energy? This isn't coincidence. Second, you enter what I call the observational coherence state. This means aligning your emotional frequency with the frequency of your desired reality. If you want abundance, observe from the feeling of already being abundant. If you want love, observe from the feeling of already being loved. If you want success, observe from the feeling of already being successful. And here's something crucial that most people don't understand about emotional states and quantum observation. Third, you practice telescopic observation. This means observing your desired reality as if it were already your current reality, but from an expanded perspective. Imagine you're looking at your life where this reality is already manifested, but not from a future perspective, from a present possibility perspective. Observe the details, sensations, emotions, circumstances as if they were accessible memories instead of distant hopes. But wait, because the fourth step will reveal how to make this physically anchored in your daily experience. Fourth, you apply quantum anchoring. Choose a physical object. It could be a stone, a ring, anything small, and hold it while practicing telescopic observation. This object becomes a quantum anchor that carries the frequency of your desired reality. Every time you touch this object, you instantly reactivate the observational coherence state. And here comes the part that separates conscious observers from accidental observers. Fifth, you implement peripheral observation. During the day, while living your current reality, maintain peripheral awareness of your desired reality. Don't force it, just maintain a gentle connection, like background music playing softly. This keeps the quantum channel open without creating resistance through too much effort. The secret is that you're not trying to create a new reality. You're tuning into a reality that already exists in the quantum possibility field, and this leads to an understanding that will completely change how you see your relationship with time. Your desired reality exists right now as quantum possibility, waiting for observation to collapse it into experience. When you observe with the frequency of your desired reality, you literally tune into that reality channel, like adjusting a radio to receive a specific station. The version of you living your desired reality is sending signals through quantum space right now, guiding your attention toward the observational patterns that will collapse that reality into your experience. The version of you that already lives your desired reality is sending information through intuition, through dreams, through synchronicities, through the recognition you feel when these words activate something in your cellular memory, through the sudden knowing that comes when you observe certain possibilities. Your expanded being is guiding your current being toward the observational patterns that will collapse your desired reality into experience. The quantum field is sending undeniable signals that your observer effect capabilities are reaching conscious operational levels right now. Pay attention. Are you noticing that your attention has more electromagnetic weight than before? When you really focus on something, does it feel like your observation has real force that can influence what you're seeing? And here's something that will make you question everything you thought about manifestation speed. Your manifestation speed is accelerating exponentially. What used to take forever to show up in your reality is now happening fast. This isn't coincidence. It's your observer effect becoming more coherent and precise. When you observe from quantum coherence, the gap between observation and manifestation collapses because coherent observation operates at the speed of consciousness rather than the speed of physical cause and effect. But there's an even more intriguing phenomenon happening. Technology and the natural world are responding differently to your presence now. Electronics act weird when you're in elevated states of focus. Animals are drawn to your observation in unprecedented ways. This happens because you're generating coherent frequencies that harmonize electromagnetic fields around you. But what I want to share now goes beyond my own experience. Recently, a person who applied the quantum selection protocol reported something extraordinary. She had been unemployed for several months, living off savings that were running out. After specifically applying the third step, telescopic observation, focusing on her reality as a successful professional, something incredible happened. In less than a week, 3 different opportunities appeared at the same time. A company that had rejected her application months before came back offering an even better position. A former colleague casually mentioned a perfect opening for her skill set. And a completely new company contacted her through LinkedIn, offering exactly the type of work she had dreamed of. The most fascinating part? She said that during telescopic observation, she had specifically visualized receiving 3 job offers at the same time, forcing her to choose the best one. And that's exactly what happened. It wasn't coincidence. It was observer effect in full action. This brings me to something crucial you need to understand about the difference between conscious and unconscious observers. People respond to your attention with unusual intensity. When you truly observe someone with genuine interest, they become more animated, more open, more authentic. When you observe with love, people feel loved. When you observe with appreciation, people feel appreciated. When you observe with curiosity, people become more interesting. Your quality of observation is directly influencing the consciousness you're observing, because consciousness responds to consciousness through quantum entanglement. Synchronicities aren't just increasing, they're becoming more immediate and precise. You observe something you need, and it appears within hours. You focus on wanting to experience something, and opportunities manifest almost instantly. You pay attention to solutions, and solutions reveal themselves with shocking speed. But here's what really separates those who master the observer effect from those who only experience occasional manifestations. Numbers appear repeatedly in patterns that match your observation focus. Songs play that align with your internal observation frequency. Conversations happen around you that relate directly to what you've been observing internally. Your dreams have become observer effect training labs. You're practicing focused observation in dream states, learning to collapse quantum possibilities through pure attention without physical world interference. You're having dreams where you consciously direct dream reality through observation. And these skills are automatically transferring to your waking consciousness. Your dream state has become a quantum simulation where you test different observer effect techniques before applying them in 3D reality. Most significantly, you can feel the difference between casual attention and reality-creating observation. Casual attention only perceives what's already manifested. Reality-creating observation actively collapses quantum possibility into experienced reality. You're developing the ability to switch between these attention modes consciously. And this brings us to the most crucial moment of your awakening journey. Because what I'm about to reveal now determines whether you'll simply understand these concepts or actually transform your reality through them. There's a critical understanding that changes everything. Conscious observer effect operates in cosmic time windows. There are electromagnetic alignments, consciousness evolution phases, and collective awakening cycles that amplify individual observer effect capabilities. We're in one of those amplification windows right now. The preparation phase is complete. Every signal shows that your observer effect is reaching maximum operational capacity. Electromagnetic conditions are optimal. The quantum field is maximally receptive. The only question left is whether you'll direct it consciously toward what you want to experience or let it continue operating unconsciously. Here's the revelation that changes everything. You're not learning to use the observer effect. You're already using the observer effect perfectly every moment. The problem isn't that you don't know how to observe. The problem is that you've been observing unconsciously, collapsing quantum possibilities you don't really want to experience through habitual attention patterns. There's a crucial difference between trying to observe differently and allowing natural observation. Trying creates electromagnetic resistance that interferes with quantum coherence, because trying implies fighting against current reality. Allowing creates the clear field necessary for precise observer effect, because allowing operates from recognizing that desired realities already exist as quantum possibility. The deepest understanding is that your desired reality and your undesired reality exist with equal quantum validity. Right now there's a probability timeline where you're financially abundant and a probability timeline where you're struggling. There's a quantum possibility where your relationships are deeply fulfilling, and a quantum possibility where they're disappointing, all existing simultaneously in quantum superposition. Successful observer effect feels completely natural because it operates from authentic alignment rather than forced intention. When you're observing from your genuine frequency, when your attention is aligned with your real desires instead of your conditioned fears, no effort is required. The key perspective that transforms everything. You don't attract what you want through the observer effect. You become a vibrational match for realities where what you want already exists. The observer effect isn't about creating new possibilities. The observer effect is about selecting from infinite possibilities that already exist in quantum space. When you observe with the frequency of your desired reality, you literally tune in to that reality channel, like adjusting a radio to receive a specific station. Right now, your desired reality exists as quantum possibility, waiting for observation to collapse it into experience. The version of you living your desired reality is sending signals through quantum space right now, guiding your attention toward the observational patterns that will collapse that reality into your experience. The version of you that already lives your desired reality is sending information through intuition, through dreams, through synchronicities, through the recognition you feel when these words activate something in your cellular memory, through the sudden knowing that comes when you observe certain possibilities. Your expanded being is guiding your current being toward the observational patterns that will collapse your desired reality into experience. The capabilities you're developing through conscious observer effect aren't theoretical improvements. They're measurable expansions of human potential that most people don't realize are possible. Your ability to influence reality through focused observation is becoming so precise that you can literally reshape circumstances through the quality of your attention. The observer effect you're mastering works instantly across any distance. When you observe someone with genuine care, that person feels cared for regardless of physical separation. When you observe a situation with solution-focused attention, solutions begin appearing even if you're not physically present. Your intuition is becoming quantum precognition. You're not just sensing what might happen, you're observing quantum possibilities before they collapse into 3D experience. This allows you to focus your observer effect on desired possibilities while they're still in probability space, dramatically increasing manifestation precision. Most remarkably, you're discovering that physical matter responds to conscious observation. Plants grow more vibrantly when observed with love. Food tastes better when observed with appreciation. Your body heals faster when observed with gratitude. Matter isn't separate from consciousness. Matter is consciousness observed in temporary form. The ultimate secret of the observer effect is that there's no objective reality independent of consciousness. Reality is consciousness observing itself in infinite forms of experience. You're not a separate observer looking at an external world. Your consciousness using individual perspective to explore its own infinite creative potential. When you observe other people with love, you're literally consciousness loving itself. When you observe them with appreciation, it's your consciousness appreciating itself. Your observer effect toward others is consciousness interacting with itself. This is why quantum entanglement works. This is why the observer effect transcends space and time. The coherence that creates powerful observer effect isn't something you achieve. It's something you remember. You already are consciousness. You've always been consciousness. Observer effect mastery is simply consciousness, remembering its unlimited nature and learning to observe from that recognition instead of limited identity. When you observe from knowing that you are consciousness exploring itself, your observer effect becomes effortless and precise. You're not trying to change external reality. You're allowing consciousness to experience different aspects of its infinite potential through your individual viewpoint. Your mastery of conscious observer effect isn't just personal development, it's your contribution to a collective consciousness awakening that's happening to humanity right now. Every person who learns to observe consciously instead of unconsciously becomes a transmission point for coherent reality creation that elevates the entire collective field. You're part of a distributed network of consciousness, demonstrating what humans are really capable of when operating from observer effect mastery instead of victim consciousness. Every person who masters the observer effect creates a template in the quantum field that others can follow. The next phase of human evolution won't happen through technological advancement or social revolution. It will happen through consciousness recognizing its creative power through the observer effect. Individuals who master this recognition first become bridges between current human limitation and expanded human potential. If the observer effect is activating in your consciousness, if you can feel the recognition of your creative power awakening in your cellular awareness, if you're ready to observe consciously instead of unconsciously, then I need to know that you're serious about mastering reality creation through attention. But first, let me explain why the word I'm going to ask you to comment isn't random. The word quantum carries a specific vibrational signature that resonates directly with the field of infinite possibilities. When you write this word, you're not just typing letters, you're creating an electromagnetic declaration that the quantum field registers as conscious intention. Quantum represents the bridge between the visible and invisible, between the manifested and potential, between current reality and desired reality. It's the exact frequency that connects your individual consciousness to the universal field of creation. Each letter carries a vibration that aligns your nervous system with the same frequencies operating at the most fundamental levels of reality. Furthermore, by writing quantum publicly, you're doing more than making a personal declaration. You're joining an electromagnetic network of consciousnesses that have chosen to activate their observer effect deliberately. Every person who comments this word strengthens the morphic field that facilitates others' awakening. This isn't superstition or magical thinking. It's applied physics. Your written words carry frequency. Your intention while writing them amplifies that frequency. And doing this publicly creates quantum accountability, a commitment that your subconscious registers as a command to reorganize your reality. Comment one word below, quantum. You're announcing your intention to observe consciously instead of unconsciously. You're committing to deliberate reality creation instead of accepting random circumstances. You're declaring that you choose to be a conscious observer instead of an unconscious victim of circumstances. The quantum field registers every conscious declaration as measurable electromagnetic activity. Your word becomes a frequency signature that influences probability collapse around you. This isn't just participation for algorithm purposes. This is observer effect activation through intentional declaration. And here's what happens after you make this declaration. Your life will begin reorganizing in ways that confirm you made the right decision. Opportunities that were invisible will become visible. People who can help your evolution will appear on your path. Resources you need will manifest in unexpected ways. But more important than everything, you'll begin recognizing yourself as what you've always been. Infinite consciousness using individual perspective to explore and create reality through the power of conscious observation. And once you truly understand this, once you feel it at a cellular level, It will never again be possible to pretend you're a victim of circumstances. Your observer effect key is activated. Your desired reality exists right now as quantum possibility, awaiting your conscious observation. The only question remaining is, will you observe consciously or unconsciously? Will you create deliberately or accidentally? The choice, as always, is yours. But choose from recognition of your true creative power, not from confusion of limited identity. You are consciousness using the observer effect to explore infinite potential. It's time to observe consciously. Remember, you're not learning something new. You're remembering who you've always been. Reality creation didn't start now. It never stopped. The only difference is that now you can direct it consciously, and that changes absolutely everything. The reality you desire isn't waiting for you to become ready for it. It's waiting for you to recognize that you're already worthy of it, because you always have been. The observer effect isn't a power you develop. It's the power you are. Conscious reality creation begins the moment you stop pretending to be less than what you really are. Now is that moment.